gifts and to help them, but really what he's trying to do is he's trying to put a spiritual seed of desperation and hunger inside of them. So when they go back, the only thing that's different is the things that satisfied or didn't satisfy in life before just satisfy less. So there's a spiritual hunger where they have to fill it with him, and they have to go there because it's really offensive when you go down there and they have absolutely freaking nothing, right? But they've got more hope and they've got more joy than I've seen in any church here in a decade. You know, like literally every day for about 5-6 hours, church services. You know, during the afternoon you have people that sit there for hours listening to get discipled. Like we talk, see, part of the thing is a lot of the goods in storage were in storage when it first got down there because the UN didn't really know a lot of people. They've been down there for 14 years just picking their butt. And so you have tons of stuff coming down, but they're in warehouses to begin with because they didn't actually know people and they couldn't just hand it out because they were afraid chaos was going to break out. Because they have a bunch of devastated, hungry, starving people. Obviously, if you have food, people are going to fight over it. But what we had is we had a connection where we've been in Haiti before, the organization I was with, where we connected up with 250 pastors from over 1,000 churches within like 3 days. We connected them, brought them all together, and we said, what do you guys need? And the resounding thing that they said is not food, not water, not clothing, not shelter. They say we need discipleship and start with us, which is absurd if you think about it. Like in the United States, the last people normally that would ask for that would be pastors as far as start with us. It would be start with my deacons or start with the new people or start with the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool though?
Yeah. That's really cool.
And so, time out. That's not at all an offense at any of your parents. Time in. I'm just saying, but you know what I'm saying though, as far as the hunger of it, there's a humility in that where they're saying, you know what, we know food's going to come, we know water's going to come, we know the provisions are going to come, but what we need is we need discipleship and we need to know how to teach discipleship better because what we've done in the past isn't good. It's not good enough. It's not cutting it. You know? What you have is a natural thing where they started living as community, kind of like Acts, because they started to come together because they have to literally rely on each other. People were living in dumps, living on all sorts of stuff, living in the medians of streets. I think that was a... Oh, man. Like, I was driving one day, and you almost climatize to it. I don't want to say harden to it, but you climatize to it. You get used to it. And you're driving, and I look over, and there's this row as far as you can see of just people living in the median. And there's this little girl just sitting on the side, and she's playing with her doll, but her doll's got like one arm, and her dollhouse is made of broken pieces of rubble. You know? But you look at her, and she looks up, and she's got a freaking big smile, and she's just loving life and everything. I'm like, you're sitting in the middle of the road playing with half a doll and some rubble. Like, it just breaks your heart, you know? Yeah. But in the meantime, they're just loving each other. They've got all the time in the world to slow down, stop, and actually hear what God's saying to them. Yeah. You know? And so what God is doing is pouring himself out in there. And what it's doing is it's challenging and encouraging other people. Like, we'd sit there and we'd be playing and we'd be worshiping for like hours. Electricity goes off. It doesn't skip a beat. Everybody is still dancing and singing. Like literally, worship service was a workout. It was just a dance workout. Like they might be on the same song for 45 minutes just because they haven't got done singing it. You know? Yeah. Like just singing through the same thing over and over again.
What's that line that we read today in 1 Samuel? The unending joy one?
Yeah.
You mean 1 Peter?
Yeah, 1 Peter 2.
Oh.
Was it something in unending joy?
It was like abounding and...
Unending.
Yeah.
It's like you start...
I don't know.
You start realizing that we're the ones that are poor, blind, and naked. Yeah. And we're coming down with gifts, and then in our heads we also think, oh, well, we'll at least offer them some sort of peace or some sort of joy or some sort of hope in the circumstance. Yeah. And you get down there and you're like,
they don't need anything.
who am I to like I need this stuff? Yeah. Like it completely messes with you, which is why I think he's using Haiti kind of as a magnet. Yeah. Because he's drawing people there to invest in the people that are coming. You know? So that people that go back to church here will be like, dude, why are we complaining about the color of the carpet? Like, seriously? Yeah. These guys don't have anything. Yeah. Like, you have tent villages that are on just rubble. And you have literally upper class tent and lower class tent. And then after that, you've got tarp villages. And after the tarp villages, you've got bed sheets. And what they do is they'll take sticks and they'll take bed sheets, like 4 bed sheets, and then they'll rip the corners of the bed sheets and use that as ties to tie it to the stick.
Oh, no.
Then they'll be laying on ground, not much different than this, except for they're lucky if they get rocks, so it at least elevates them from the water that's coming in, because it's water season, and so you got mosquitoes, you got all sorts of everything else coming in. You got malaria, you've got dengue, you've got all sorts of crap coming in.
What's dengue fever?
It's kind of similar to malaria.
It's like a little
It's bad.
plasmodium parasite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's spread by mosquitoes. So, you got all that happening. In the meantime, you're sitting there trying to find ways to help people as much as you can, as quickly as you can. The people will be very kind to you. Like, for them, like, they're just honored that you would go there to suffer with them. Even if you're in better situations than they actually are living in, and even though you're going back home, for them it gives them encouragement that you're coming down there to live in their circumstances. Like, they're almost ashamed of the fact that there's garbage everywhere. Like, everywhere. You know, like, there's rubble everywhere. Like, to put in perspective, they were taking out 1,000 dump trucks of rubble a day to begin with. It slowed down to 100 because of all the amount of people and everything else there. But if they had stayed at 1,000 a day, it would have taken them over 10 years to get rid of all the rubble, just in Port-au-Prince. And Port-au-Prince wasn't even the epicenter.
Wow.
And that's sick.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like an
so,
entire city.
yeah. So there's a lot to do. Like, there's areas where, like, some of the medians, they dug it out, made just mass graves, and then pour rubble on top. Some areas, like, they still have a lot of people that are still buried, and they'll find them, and then they'll repile rubble over it and put up a red flag because they're deteriorated so much that it's going to bring sickness if they try to get them out.